Audio is not available for the first 5 minutes and 15 seconds due to a technical issue. You can still enjoy the visuals and captions, or skip ahead to 5:15 to continue the full story with audio. Thank you for understanding and supporting the channel. The HOA tried to smear my name, calling me unstable, a fraud, a desperate man looking for a payout. But when the county clerk finally testified, confirming that my family had never stopped paying taxes, the entire courtroom went silent again. That was the day I realized something powerful. Corruption can build walls, but truth has a wrecking ball of its own. So tell me, if someone built an empire on your family's land, would you fight back or walk away? Let me know down in the comments. Because this story is just getting started. Stay tuned. The next chapter takes a turn nobody saw coming. After that courtroom showdown, everything changed. The HOA stopped smiling in public. Cassandra's perfect little empire started to crumble piece by piece. But winning one battle doesn't mean the war is over. A week after that hearing, I came home to find my mailbox ripped open, papers scattered, tire tracks in the mud. Someone had been there. That night, my phone buzzed with a blocked number. A distorted voice whispered, "Walk away, Dakota, before you lose more than land, than silence." I called Lydia. "They're trying to scare me." "Good," she said calmly. "That means they're losing." Every day after that, new chaos unfolded. A local Facebook group started calling me a scammer. Someone posted my photo with the caption, "Fake landowner harasses families." Within hours, hundreds of angry comments piled up. But Lydia saw opportunity. Defamation, intimidation, harassment. This isn't just a lawsuit anymore. It's a reckoning. She filed a restraining order, and suddenly, the same people who mocked me online went quiet. The HOA tried to settle again, this time, $500,000. I didn't even blink. Not for sale. Meanwhile, we dug deeper. Lydia uncovered old permits tied to Cassandra's husband, shell companies, fake investors, and payments routed through a Delaware corporation. Every document screamed fraud. Then came the real bombshell. A whistleblower, a former Whitmore employee, reached out. He had emails, blueprints, and memos proving they knew. The land wasn't theirs before a single foundation was poured. They built 96 homes knowing the land was stolen. And now they were trapped inside their own crime scene. Lydia's strategy shifted. We're taking it federal. Wire fraud, tax evasion, RICO. They won't walk away from this. I remember the night before filing, snow falling, whiskey glass sweating on my table. I looked at Grandpa's old note again. "Don't let the bastards take what's yours." I whispered, "I won't, old man. Not ever." The next morning, the federal filing hit like an earthquake. News crews camped outside Ridgeline Heights. Drones buzzed overhead. Homeowners panicked. And Cassandra? Nowhere to be found. When the cameras turned to me, I said only one thing. They thought I was just one man. But this land carries a legacy. That clip went viral overnight. For the first time, people stopped laughing and started listening. By February, the story had exploded far beyond Colorado. News anchors called it the land heist of the decade. Reporters hunted Cassandra and Preston Whitmore, but both had gone silent. Their company's website vanished overnight. Lydia's office buzzed like a command center. She pinned maps, court filings, and names to a massive whiteboard, drawing lines between every crooked project the Whitmores had touched. 7 developments. Same playbook. We're not just winning your case, Dakota. We're exposing an empire. The next week, federal subpoenas went out. Every contractor, banker, and fake title agent connected to Ridgeline Heights was dragged into questioning. Phones rang day and night. One by one, their allies began to flip. That's when the real retaliation started. My truck tires were slashed outside a grocery store. My daughter Emma got anonymous texts saying, "Tell your dad to drop it before it's too late." Police traced nothing. Lydia's advice? Fear is their last weapon. Don't hand it to them. Then came the IRS notice. An audit, triggered by a citizen. Tip. Lydia's eyes narrowed. Classic tactic. They're panicking, she called in favors. And within a week, the audit was withdrawn. Now, she said, we hit harder. March 1st, deposition day. Preston finally showed up, sweating through his tailored suit. Lydia played it cool, polite, surgical. She laid out the documents, emails with timestamps, contracts he'd signed after I'd paid property taxes. Each piece was a nail in his coffin. Preston stammered. Our counsel confirmed adverse possession. Lydia interrupted. Counsel who also notarized forged tax receipts? He froze. Silence thickened. Cameras clicked. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. I didn't speak. Lydia did. This isn't just one man's stolen property, she told them. This is a blueprint for corporate theft. Repeated across the state. The clip aired that night. Millions watched. By the next morning, Ridgeline Heights looked like a ghost town. Construction halted, moving trucks gone. The HOA office was locked, blinds drawn. Even the Welcome Home banner had been ripped down by the wind. Then something unexpected, a call from an unknown number. I answered, bracing for threats. But it wasn't that. Mr. Flint? The voice trembled. My name's Sarah Chen. I live in Lot 27. We just found out about the lawsuit. Are we going to lose our home? I hesitated. You bought in good faith. You're victims, too. I'm not coming after you. Only the people who built this lie. She started crying softly. Thank you. That moment hit me harder than any courtroom victory. These weren't villains. They were families duped by greed. Lydia's words echoed, You're fighting corruption, not neighbors. That night, snow fell again, same as the day I'd found Ridgeline Heights. I stood at the property line, watching porch lights flicker in stolen houses built on my soil. But this time I didn't feel powerless. The storm was about to break, and when it did, every last nail driven into my land would testify against them. February 9th, the day everything came to a head. Boulder County Courthouse was packed. Reporters shoulder to shoulder, cameras flashing like lightning. Outside, protesters held signs, Justice for Dakota and Stop Land Fraud. It felt unreal. 3 months ago, I was just a working man with a rusted truck. Now, I was walking into a battle that could rewrite state law. Cassandra Whitmore sat across the aisle, wrapped in an ivory suit, sunglasses on indoors, pretending not to see me. Her husband, Preston, whispered to his lawyers, pale as chalk. Lydia leaned toward me, calm as ice. Remember, truth is the sharpest weapon. Let it cut clean. The judge, Ramirez, a woman known for zero tolerance for corruption, took her seat. Case number 22CV-481, Flint versus Whitmore, LLC. Her gavel struck. Let's begin. Lydia rose first. Your Honor, this is not a simple boundary dispute. This is premeditated theft, the calculated conversion of 47 acres, through fraud, deceit, and intimidation. She walked to the projector, clicking through evidence, tax records, deeds, timestamps. Mr. Flint's payments never stopped. The defendants knew that, and built anyway. The courtroom was silent except for the hum of the projector. Preston avoided my eyes. Cassandra smirked, but her hands trembled. Then Lydia dropped the bomb, an email, leaked from Preston's account. Subject line, we can bulldoze him into settling. Judge Ramirez raised an eyebrow. Authentic? Verified by the county's forensic division, Lydia said. Time-stamped March 14th. A gasp rippled through the room. Cassandra's lawyer stood. Objection. Private correspondence. Overruled, the judge snapped. Continue. Lydia's closing line hit like a hammer. This isn't progress, Your Honor. This is piracy in suits and heels. Defense tried damage control, claiming clerical confusion. Bad record-keeping, honest mistake, but then the sheriff's investigator stepped, up with drone footage. Dated images showing crews pouring foundations weeks after. Lydia had served Whitmore LLC with notice. It was over. Everyone knew it. When the judge returned after recess, she didn't even sit before speaking. The court finds in favor of the plaintiff, Mr. Flint. Title restored in full. Damages, $4.2 million plus legal fees. The matter of fraud will be referred to the district attorney. The room erupted. Flashes, shouts, relief. Cassandra froze like a statue, her empire crumbling in one sentence. Lydia squeezed my arm. We did it, Dakota. I stepped outside, the crisp winter air burning my lungs. Reporters swarmed, but all I could think of was Grandpa's note. Don't let the bastards take what's yours. For the first time, I felt him there. The land wasn't just dirt and trees anymore. It was proof that justice, though slow, could still roar louder than greed. 3 days after the verdict, Boulder felt different. The same town that once whispered my name with pity now nodded with respect. News vans still lined Maple Avenue, their satellite dishes aimed skyward, chasing updates about the Whitmore HOA scandal. Cassandra. Whitmore hadn't been seen since the ruling. Her mansion, once a symbol of power, was now surrounded by caution tape. Preston's construction sites were frozen mid-frame, silent skeletons of greed. The HOA board? Half of them had resigned overnight. The rest were cooperating with investigators. I didn't celebrate. I drove out to the ridge at dawn, the same place where the bulldozers once stood. Now it was quiet again. Snow rested softly over the scarred earth. I ran my hand through the frozen soil and whispered, "We're home." Grandpa. But peace doesn't last long in towns like this. A week later, Denver Post ran a front-page headline. Whitmore family under criminal investigation. FBI joins probe. Turns out, Preston's land deals weren't limited to Boulder. He'd been laundering HOA funds through shell companies for nearly 6 years. Cassandra had been signing off on them, using beautification grants as cover. Millions were gone. TV pundits called it the HOA empire collapse. Some even used my name. The man who brought down. Boulder's richest couple, reporters, showed up at my cabin for interviews. I refused most. But when one young journalist asked, "Mr. Flint, do you forgive them?" I paused. Forgive? I looked past the cameras out at the land. The trees, the frozen creek, the hawk circling above. They didn't just steal dirt, I said quietly. They tried to erase a legacy. You don't forgive that. You outlive it. Meanwhile, Cassandra tried to fight back online. Leaked voicemails showed her calling me, a peasant with a pity complex. Preston filed an appeal, denied in 2 days. Then his arrest made national TV. One frame stayed with me, him in handcuffs, staring at the ground like a man who finally saw the hole he'd dug himself into. When Lydia called that night, she just said, "It's over." I didn't answer right away. I stood outside watching the stars blink through the cold. "No," I said finally. "It's starting." Because I'd made a decision. I wasn't just going to rebuild the cabin. I was going to rebuild the whole ridge, open it to the public as a trust. The Flint Reserve. Free land, no HOA, no greed. The land was finally back where it belonged, with the people. Spring came early that year. The snow melted faster than usual, revealing what winter had been hiding. One morning while clearing the old trail near the ridge. My shovel struck something hard, not stone, but metal. I brushed away the dirt and found a rusted sign buried face. Down when I flipped it over, I froze. It read, "Flint Ridge Protected Land. 1962, my grandfather's signature, was engraved at the bottom. For a long time, I just stood there, the wind cutting across the valley, realizing what that meant. The Whitmores hadn't just stolen land. They'd stolen protected land. It had been marked as a community trust decades ago. That's why Grandpa fought so hard. He wasn't defending his property. He was defending the town's future. I sent photos to the local archive, and within days, the Boulder Heritage Society confirmed everything. The document was authentic, the coordinates matched, and the ridge had been illegally stripped from public record during a zoning reform led by Preston Whitmore himself. The story hit local news again, this time not as tragedy, but as triumph. The following week, the mayor signed an emergency order restoring the ridge's original status. Reporters, students, and old residents gathered at the site. Some brought candles, others small flags that read, "For Flint." When the announcement came, Flint Ridge is now a historic landmark. People actually cheered. A few even cried. That night, I climbed up to the ridge once more, the same place where it had all started. The survey stakes, the bulldozers, the shouting matches, the betrayal. Now there was only silence. Peaceful, proud silence. I lit a small lantern and placed the metal sign in the soil. just where I'd found it. The glow spread across the ground, soft and gold against the dark. "Welcome home," I whispered. For a moment, I thought I heard footsteps behind me, light, familiar. I turned, but no one was there, only the wind, moving gently through the trees. Yet I could swear I heard Grandpa's voice in it. "Told you, son, the land remembers." Next morning, the headlines read, "Flint Ridge Restored A. Town Redeemed." Reporters called it poetic justice. To me, it was closure. The ridge didn't just belong to the Flints anymore. It belonged to everyone who'd ever been silenced by power, proof that even when the powerful bury the truth, the earth has its own way of speaking back. Months passed, and life slowly found its rhythm again. The headlines faded, lawyers moved on, and the chaos that once consumed my every waking hour became nothing. More than a memory, I still got letters. Every week, people from Texas, Ohio, Florida, all sharing their own land battle stories. Some had lost everything. Others were still fighting, but they all said the same thing. "Your story gave me hope. That line alone made every sleepless night worth it." I started a foundation in Grandpa's name, the William Flint Trust, to help homeowners and small landowners who'd been crushed by HOAs and shady developers. We funded our first case within a month. An old veteran in Utah who'd had his ranch fence ripped out by a luxury golf club, he won within 6 weeks. The smile in his thank you photo hit harder than any dollar ever could. Meanwhile, Lydia became a legend. Her RICO case against the Whitmores rippled nationwide. States began rewriting adverse possession laws tighter, clearer, leaving less room for crooks to twist them. The Whitmores themselves vanished from public life. Cassandra's mansion sold at auction. Preston's cars seized by IRS warrants. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like balance restored. On quiet nights, I'd still hear the faint echoes of construction from my memories, the hammering, the saws, but now they blended with the wind through the pines, sounding more like healing than theft. One evening in late spring, I stood at the ridgeline, watching the lights of the small community below flicker to life. Families who'd once been victims now owned their homes outright, thanks to the trust setup. Every month, they sent updates, photos, kids playing in yards built on honesty. That's when I realized this wasn't just about justice anymore. It was about inheritance, not in land, but in integrity. Grandpa's note still hung above my desk. "Don't let the bastards take what's yours." I smiled at it and whispered, "I didn't, old man." By January 25th, the leaked contracts exploded online. Bloggers, journalists, and whistleblowers began tearing apart. Whitmore LLC. My phone buzzed. Non-stop. Messages from homeowners, terrified they'd lose everything. One of them, Sarah Chen, called me in tears. "We didn't know. Mr. Flint, we bought in good faith." My anger softened. "You're not the enemy," I said. "You're victims, too." Lydia's voice on speaker. "Title companies flipped. They admitted Whitmore bribed them to rush approvals. We've got emails, call logs, and timestamps. It's over." "They know?" I asked. "They're begging for settlement, but we're going to court." February 2nd, Channel 9 aired our story. From inherited dream to developer nightmare. My face, my documents, my grandfather's note, all on prime time. The anchor's words sliced through Denver's comfortable suburbia. How greed turned one man's legacy into a crime scene. The Whitmores' $50,000 police donation scandal went public that night. Comment sections filled with outrage, neighbors organizing petitions, even city council members demanding investigations. Then came the message, "Biggest mistake of your life." Lydia texted, "Vary your routes, they're desperate." 2 nights later, someone broke into my house. A note left on the counter read, "Drop it or lose everything." My neighbor's security camera caught the plate, Apex. Contractings. Lydia's reply was calm but chilling. "We're there. Stay somewhere else tonight." I packed essentials, crashed at my daughter Emma's. My life had shrunk to a laptop bag, court files, and a baseball bat under the couch. February 6th, Lydia called at dawn. Her voice was steady, triumphant. The title's fully flipped, Dakota. Every home, every square foot, legally yours again. They tried to settle. We refused. Trial date confirmed. February 9th. Courtroom packed. Reporters shoulder to shoulder, flashes popping. Lydia rose first, voice cutting through the chaos. This isn't a case about paperwork. It's about theft in broad daylight, carried out in boardrooms. She dismantled their defense witness by witness. Preston tried to talk circles but broke under pressure. Cassandra sat stone-faced, refusing to testify. The jury's expressions told the story before the verdict even landed. When the gavel fell, Judge Ramirez ruled, all property restored to Dakota Flint. $4.2 million in damages, plus attorney's fees, and criminal referrals for fraud. Gasps filled the room. Some homeowners cried with relief. Cassandra's glare followed me out of court. But for the first time in years, I could breathe. March 15th, we held a town hall in the subdivision clubhouse. I'm not here to punish anyone, I told the packed crowd. A trust now owns these homes. You'll pay only what you can, 0 interest. The rest goes to rebuild roads, pay taxes, and fund scholarships. Applause shook the walls. Reporters called it redemption. I called it justice. I kept 5 acres to build a cabin where Grandpa's ashes finally rested. My kids visit, even my ex drops by sometimes. On the fridge hangs Emma's drawing, me and Grandpa under pine trees. Words below, he kept his promise. Behind the Hedges covered the story again. The episode won an Emmy. Now every time I see that golden plaque, I remember what Grandpa wrote. Don't let the bastards take what's yours. Justice isn't free, but it's worth every fight.
And that was today's unbelievable HOA story. But remember, every hedge hides another secret. On Behind the Hedges, we uncover real HOA stories that no one dares to tell. So if you love mystery, drama, and the truth hidden behind perfect lawns, make sure to subscribe to Behind the Hedges and turn on the bell. Because tomorrow, we're bringing another story, one you've never heard before.